We are at the end of the year here. We have 30 days out until Trump is inaugurated and for a second term. What are you most looking forward to with the new Trump administration?
Wow, if I had, my immediate intrusive thought was a border. I want a border so bad. But honestly, just seeing things get back to sanity. I feel like for far too long, we have been in this cycle of the people are last. America is last. The priorities and the greater good of America has just been put on the back burner. And I'm just excited to see this entire cabinet, this entire administration coming forward and just doing the drastic changes that we need in our country. We're about to fix the immigration problem, getting our lives to be affordable again, cracking down on all of the crime that's happening, the human trafficking, exposing so many of the corrupt industries like the healthcare industry and like the FDA and like things that are going on there, making America healthy again, because I'm tired of being poisoned with all of the different things going into our food. So just everything, like literally everything.
That was the one thing with me. It's like I would never be like, oh, America should ever emulate Europe or like go in that direction. But with food, it's like the one thing where we lack. It's like our food is poison. The quality is so bad. We see this whole realignment now with like Robert Kennedy Jr. dropping out, endorsing Trump, and now looks like he'll have a position in the administration. What do you think? What's that going to look like? Like Make America Healthy Again, aligning with Make America Great Again?
Well, I say with everything, follow the money. So it's like we need to start looking at what is going on with the FDA, because when I learned that 50% of the FDA is being funded by big pharmaceutical companies, which are the people who benefit the most from us being sick, are the ones who are benefiting from trying to not make us sick, we need to start cracking down on all of that. Because I have to say, I'm now 9 months sober of crumble cookies, because I learned that crumble cookies, because learning that basically they have disinfectant and glass cleaner inside of these cookies, the calories aren't even the worst issue. It's why are we allowing so many terrible things to be put into our food? So to begin fixing that problem, we have to start looking at these big organizations that have become too big to fail, pretty much. It's what it's felt like. The FDA is such a powerful organization that for far too long, nobody has even tried to crack down on them, because who's above them? Who's above the top executives in the pharmaceutical industry and all these people who are just over-medicating young people, putting so many unnecessary chemicals into our bodies through either medicine or through food. It's a very circular issue that we just need to spearhead head on.
So talk to me about what PragerU is doing now with, you have a new documentary coming out about how crimes are overlooked.
We released Their Lives Mattered, the forgotten victims of crime in America. So basically that whole thing is looking at, we talk so much about Black Lives Matter and police brutality and all these different issues that are going on in our country. But what we're not talking about is the children that are being affected by actual crimes. You look at the statistics, me as a black man, I am 5 times more likely to be struck by lightning than to be shot and killed unarmed by a police officer. So instead of talking about an issue like that is so minuscule in the grand scheme of things, why are we not talking about the thousands of children that have been shot and killed from violent thugs in cities like Chicago, Baltimore, Philadelphia? So in Their Lives Mattered, we go and we sit down with experts on crime. We talk about these district attorneys that for far too long have gone unchecked. They're putting criminals back on the street. They're getting rid of the 3 strikes rules in a bunch of states, which means like if somebody goes and commits 3 violent crimes, what makes you think they're not going to do it a 4th time? So when we have these district attorneys that are so progressive and getting rid of cash bail, so literally all it takes is your homegirl to come pick you up from prison or from jail and then you're back on the street, cracking down on that. Also, we spoke to people like a mother named Happy Gregg. Her 4-year-old son was just getting his hair cut, and there was a group of thugs who went and did a drive-by shooting on the building that he was getting his hair cut in, and he was killed. And something that Happy said to me that really stuck with me is that when her son was murdered, she thought that there was going to be outrage, but there wasn't. The media had relatively nothing to say about it. The community was just like, oh, that's just another kid. They just completely overlooked it. So she said that she realized she had to be the outrage. She had to be the voice in her community. She had to be the one going to the district attorneys, getting the community together, and putting an end to this senseless violence that's happening. So while people go and they march for George Floyd and make household names of people like Breonna Taylor, we need to be making household names of Mikel Moultrie Jr., the 4-year-old that was shot and killed for no reason. Children like Natalie Wallace. She was a young girl just playing outside of her grandmother's house. Again, killed by a bunch of violent thugs who still walk the streets today and have absolutely no justice. So at PragerU, we're trying to shed light on this and get to the bottom of this issue. And I'm happy to see in cities like Los Angeles, we just got rid of Gascon, who was notoriously one of the worst district attorneys that has ever been in any city or any county in all of the country. So times are changing. If LA is able to get rid of their district attorney, I think more cities are going to realize, okay, it's time for serious change.
Yeah, and I've even noticed like in New York, Eric Adams, he seems to be kind of changing his shift a little bit, talking about illegal migrants and, you know, we can't have this in New York City. Do you think that there's a general shift happening with following Trump's win and people kind of seeing maybe America doesn't want to go this other way? Like, I mean, it was a clear message from the American people, popular vote, electoral college, every single swing state, even in blue cities and in blue states, the numbers were higher.
Exactly.
What do you think people are
It's a
recognizing
massive
that?
wave. People are exhausted. Like, even the most woke people I know are exhausted with just the lawlessness that is happening in our country, with the immigration, the murders, the gangs, the cartels, like the drugs, the fentanyl crisis. Nobody wants to talk about the fentanyl crisis and the fact that we are seeing more people die from fentanyl every single year than pretty much the last 5-year wars we've been in combined in total. So people are tired of this entire just chaos, the chaos that's in our country. So people want to see order coming back. People want to see, if it's not conservative values, they at least want to see the values that are currently happening in these cities gone. The values of making criminals first, allowing the people that are bringing the destruction of our communities, allowing them to be the ones that are privileged. Why is it that you see so many criminals having more rights than the American people? You're seeing people who are doing drugs on the streets of cities like San Francisco having more rights and protections and privileges than the veterans who are homeless in the same community. So it's time for all of that to change. And I think every single American, at least majority, the popular vote of Americans agrees with that.
And there seems to be like a cultural shift as well. Like it used to be, or I've even noticed just even with Trump supporters, like, back in 2016, they would be attacked, or you wear a MAGA hat, you're under attack, and there's shouting and assault and whatever. And now it seems like people are doing this more publicly, like putting on a MAGA hat, or just being an open Trump supporter, or being, sharing their support for the incoming president. And you're not getting the same kind of reaction, even among celebrities or other people that come out, like, or comedians, Theo Von, Joe Rogan and stuff, endorsing him. And it seems like there's not the same kind of pushback. It's not the same kind of, do you think there's just been like an overall cultural shift? People just, they're relaxing on that issue, or they've come to our side and have realized this is not what we maybe thought it was 8 years ago?
People are just ready to have a serious conversation about what's wrong in our country. I mean, for far too long, people are tired of being told what we're not allowed to say, what we're not allowed to ask questions about, what we're not allowed to think. Because when you are constantly viewing this madness in our country and being told, oh, you're a bigot, you're a racist, you're all of these different prejudices because you're not okay with all of that chaos, it's like, no, we need to have a conversation about it. And that conversation, sometimes it started with just putting on a MAGA hat. I live in Los Angeles, where even, again, in a city as progressive as Los Angeles, I'm seeing MAGA hats everywhere now because people are over it. People are tired of having to walk on eggshells, being expected to play along with all of these senseless games, and rather than actually trying to fix our economy, trying to fix the homeless issue. They're tired of the corruption. They're tired of our tax dollars going to enriching the same people who are making the issues worse for us, because it's more financially beneficial for some of these leaders to pretend to fix an issue and to make the issue worse rather than actually finding a solution. So we're seeing this shift happening right now, especially in Gen Z. Young Gen Z men are shifting so far to the right because they're making more money, and because a lot of them are content creators, or they work in the media space, or they're on TikTok making money, so they're learning how taxes are working. They're tired of being canceled because they didn't pretend that somebody's delusion was actual science. It's over. That era is over. The left went too far to the left. They went too woke, and they went so far to the left they went off a cliff. So now the pendulum is shifting back to common sense and decency.
Yeah, and not only that, I feel like we've become, like the conservatives have become cool now. It's like the left are the ones clutching their pearls, freaking out over comedians, freaking out over, and they have to be exhausted, like this faux outrage that they keep displaying. At some point, you have to be exhausted and be like, why am I doing this?
I mean, woke culture is just so lame.
Yeah.
It's so lame. It's so boring. Our movies are boring now. Music is boring now. If you think back to a couple decades ago, everything was so funny. When it was edgy, it wasn't forced edgy. It was like actually cool. Like everybody could laugh. Everybody could you could throw out a joke without having to worry about offending every single person in the room. People want that back. I'm not saying that people just want to go out and be crazy and saying the wildest things for no reason, but people just want to be able to have the comfortability of not constantly thinking about things like race anymore. So Gen Z, especially when we look at the generation before millennials, Gen Z is like, I kind of miss what they had. What millennials had, nobody wants that. Millennials really have the worst of the generation before and after them. So Gen Z is like, can we do what we need to do and be like young people generally are, which is rebellious, and rebel against all of this woke propaganda that has ruined the workforce, it has ruined social circles, it has ruined dating life, it has ruined everything. Feminism ruined everything.
Yeah.
Modern
really
feminism is one of the worst things to happen to young women. And, Gen Z women, they're a little slower to catch on to how bad feminism has been for them. But all of the effects of it, they see. They just haven't figured out the root cause yet. But Gen Z men, we see through it like it's bathing in Windex at this point. It is crystal clear.
What is your message at AmericaFest?
One message for anyone is just that we are so back and we need to stay here. We need to keep going. I think, as great as this is, because this is a huge celebration of the last 4 years, I feel like this particular AmFest is an accumulation of all the hard work, all the fight that we have been putting in as conservatives, as people with common sense, as Republicans. So now it's like, okay, we'll have this weekend, have fun, but starting the second Trump is in office, we need to get to work. We didn't fight this hard to get here just to be here. We need to now follow through with all the things that we promised, handle the business of everything that we said we were going to do, fix our economy, get a wall, get everything. So we need to put that pressure on our leadership. We need to be putting in the grassroots effort. It is not the time to be comfortable. It's the time to just keep full sending.